Part 25, who the fuck did I marry? So, we weren't looking at houses anymore. We were not working with a realtor anymore. The end of April, I had decided that I wanted to look for another job. I did. The reason I wanted to look for another job is petty. Yeah, it is. I wanted to look for another job because I was pissed off at the fact that um, I had basically was dependent on him to help with the car note. So I wanted to look for another job where I could afford life all by myself, including that car note, basically where I would make more money. I told him that I was going to start looking for another job. He laughed. And his exact words were, "You're not going to leave Georgia State Patrol." He was like, "I swear you love them niggas more than you love me." He laughed. So that fueled me even more. So I was hitting the pavement hard trying to find another job. I was applying to all kinds of places. Got a phone call from my current job. So this is how I ended up in my current job. Got a phone call. They had sent me an email with a background packet. The background packet was long and extensive, but in the background packet, it asked for my spouse's full name, my spouse's date of birth, and my spouse's social security number. So I showed it to Legion and I was like, "I need your social because, I'm applying for this job. It's a great job. It's way more money. And, we're talking about moving anyway to Cobb County. So this is a God thing." He did not want to give me his social. I showed him the paperwork where I was like, "Look, because we are married, I can't lie on here. So help me." So he writes down his social security number on the background packet. And I eventually turned it in. I had scanned it, saved it in my email, and sent it in. And I looked at it one day, just going through it, just making sure I didn't really miss anything. All T's were crossed, all I's were dotted. And I looked at his social, and something about the social seemed different than the social security number that I remember seeing when we did our marriage license. And so, for those who you remember in the previous part, I said I had ran his social security number from the marriage license. Nothing came back. So I thought that I had written it down wrong. Basically, what it is that the first three numbers were different on the background packet than what was on the marriage license. If you don't know this, here's a little trivia. Your social security number, the first three numbers, pretty much are dictated by the state you were born in, the state that issued your birth certificate. So he was born in Pennsylvania. So the first three numbers of his social security number should be attributed to Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, shit, they probably got like 5-6 different numbers, 3-digit numbers that your social security number can start with. So the social that was on the marriage license, for example, was probably 123. What was on the background was 456. Both of those social security 3-digit prefixes are issued through the state of Pennsylvania. Again, this is an example so I can make it clear. So when I saw his social on my background, I immediately knew that was a different social than what I saw on the marriage license. And when I compared, because I had found a copy of the marriage license that we turned in because I had filled it out on the computer. So sure enough, the first three numbers were different. The rest of the numbers were the same. So one of two things: either when I ran his background, I did in fact put in the wrong number, or the number on the marriage certificate or the background packet is wrong. So I decided that I was going to roll the dice and take the social from the background packet. Again, this is the background packet that I had to fill out to get my current job. I was trying to get a new job. Okay, so I took that social and I ran a background check on it. What came back on this particular background was all the addresses that the social security number, I guess, had been attached to. So all of the addresses, the states were Georgia, Rhode Island, Pennsylvania. What I did not see was California. So I thought that was weird. I thought, okay, maybe this is not a complete background because clearly he went to San Diego State. It's on his resume. It's on quite a few things. Social media. He didn't have a LinkedIn, but it was on his social media. So clearly he had he had been to California. So maybe I just need to do a different background check. Also to note during this time, I think I told you guys he had hit his leg at work. So what was happening was it was getting more and more difficult for him to walk, like put pressure on that leg, on that knee. Um, he was still able to go to work. He was still leaving at 6:15 in the morning. He was still coming back between 3:30 and 4 o'clock. But I clearly could see where he was in pain. He would elevate the knee, ice the knee. It was getting worse, and I was constantly like, "Go to the doctor. Let me take you to urgent care so that they can look at this knee because you shouldn't still be limping and having a hard time putting weight on that knee." And every single time he was like, "Oh, it's fine. I have a doctor's appointment on Wednesday. The doctor just told me to ice it and to elevate it. This is an old football injury. It happens all the time. It used to happen a lot when I was out in California." So I'm mentioning this knee issue for a reason. But back to the background. So once again, when I ran the background the second time with the second social, it showed me states of Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Rhode Island. And that's all that I saw in terms of addresses. I didn't see anything for California. So by this point, we're moving into May of 2021. Things are starting to reopen. One of the things that reopened was San Diego State. So I called San Diego State. I called the registrar's office. Someone did answer, and there was instructions on how to request a transcript. I was able to try to request it online. You needed the student's name, and I believe you also need their social. And when I typed it in, it said no results found. I believe that I sent an email asking, this person is saying that they were a student there. Can you verify it? The response I got was there were no records found with that social security number. So I'm like, okay. I asked him about it. And in part 26, I'll tell you exactly what his response was.